Hello, and welcome to another episode of Taylor Talks Comics. Today, we're going to go over the Love and Rockets, the Sketchbooks. Stay tuned. Okay, this video is being brought to you by OrganicPriceBooks.com, the best place to buy your comics and graphic novels. They sent me a copy of this to do a review, so you might be watching this on the Organic Price Books YouTube channel or the Taylor Talks Comics YouTube channel. Either way, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to go shopping over at OrganicPriceBooks.com for some comics and graphic novels, use my promo code TaylorTalksComics, all one word, Taylor Talks Comics, and I'll save you $2 off of your order. If you plan on ordering 4 books or more, then use my other promo code, which is TTC Ship It Together, all one word, TTC Ship It Together. All that information is down in the description below. So today, I have the Love and Rockets of Sketchbooks, which is a new release by Fantagraphics, one of my all-time favorite publishers. And this is sort of a reprint, but done in a better format and better presentation. So these were 2 previously released sketchbooks. And I don't have those sketchbooks, so the content, I won't be able to compare if there's anything different as far as the contents go, but I'm pretty sure they're the same. Someone let me know in the comments if you have those and if you've been able to compare them. This is done in a flipbook style. So you can see on this side is the Gilbert Hernandez side. And on this side, you have to flip it over and then spin it around. And it's the Jaime Hernandez side. It does come with a sticker on it. You can see that it is cover price $75. I kind of wish this was just a leaflet, and but I want to take it off so I can see the full Jaime artwork, but I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do there. But like I said, it's a flipbook, so you can. They also put the font, or not the font, the lettering upside down on either side, depending on which one you want to put on your shelf. Because it does have all the Gilbert stuff on the front half of this, and then when you get to the middle, it'll be upside down, so then you have to flip it over and then open it from this side, and the Jaime stuff will be right side up. But first we're going to start on the Gilbert side. So you have a great picture of Luba to start it off. Oh, I do want to do a size comparison too, because this is oversized. So your normal comic book size, you can see there, this is the Fantagraphics free comic book day output. You see it's much taller than and wider than your average comic book, which these are, from what I can tell, what I've seen online with the sketchbooks, the previous release sketchbooks, I think those were paperback and they were smaller than this. So this has been oversized from the original release as well. This is one of the books from the hardcover box set collecting the first 50 issues of Love and Rockets. So if you have that, I just want to do a little comparison. You can see it's still bigger than that as well. Yeah, let's open this thing up. You got some red end papers. And then we're starting off with Beto, or Gilbert Hernandez. And this is such a cool release. I feel like, because there's comics, there's punk flyers in here, there's sketchbook material in here. I kind of feel like if your favorite punk band puts out a B-sides record where it has all their B-sides that never made it onto an album, that's kind of what this book is. I feel like this is way more than just your average sketchbook where it has random drawings or whatever. This is a truly cutting room floor stuff of what Gilbert and Jaime Hernandez were doing throughout all the years of Love and Rockets. There's no table of contents, but it is separated into sections. So this is the Punk Life and Flyers section. These are flyers that Gilbert did for some punk bands local to the California area, which I grew up in the punk scene of, I guess, Indianapolis, but seeing all these flyers and stuff is amazing. I always love these cool old school flyers. And you have Beto doing some Peanuts homages there. And I love this too, because this is the characters in this image here where it says LA Punks circa 1979, 1980, those look like they could be ripped right from Jaime's side of Love and Rockets. So it's like Beto almost drawing that. And you have a comic strip right here too. So really this thing is like filled. I'm not going to flip through every single page. I just want to show you some cool stuff in here. But this thing is just filled with like great artwork in old comics that have never been released except for in these. This is before Palomar, early comics. So this one is sideways. You turn it this way to read it. But you get to see how accomplished Gilbert Hernandez was as a cartoonist before he was even professionally published. And there's great annotations on here too. So this says pages 18 through 24, unpublished Bang Bang Serial. So the annotations are great too. I think every sketchbook should have those, just to give context of what you're reading. And then this is a new comic, so or different comic from what we just read. So it's new annotation there. The Flying Saucer 5 eventually appeared in the Music for Monsters short in Love and Rockets #2. And then it's first attempt at a work intended for publication, written by Gilbert and Mario, drawn by Gilbert, inked by Mario. So Mario Hernandez is the third Hernandez brother. I think people always say it's not Los Bros doesn't mean Dos Bros, because Mario Hernandez is involved. And one thing that just flipping through here that I've noticed is that Gilbert was working on a lot more sci-fi kind of stuff before Palomar, which is interesting because when you think of like Love and Rockets, especially the early period, it was more Jaime working with the sci-fi stuff. And Gilbert, if he ever like went away from the Palomar stuff, was working more like almost like monster comics. Like you think of like the classic 50s Atlas era Marvel monster comics. These are some commissions he worked on. Gilbert doing Iron Man. This is cool too. Gilbert doing Spider-Man. You can see it's definitely inspired by Ditko, especially this image here. So you get some of that too in here, like just different things they did. You can see this is definitely inspired by like Hank Ketchum or Al Wiseman, Dennis the Menace, which the Hernandez brothers have both said they were influenced by. Red Sonja by Gilbert. What if Marvel bought the rights to Wonder Warthog? That's such a funny image there. Working on the Golden Age DC characters here, which is really cool. And some more sci-fi characters and whatnot. It's cool to see all these different styles that they can work in that are different from the typical Palomar or Locas stories by these two. So this is sketchbook material here too. You can see it's character studies, roughs, and unfinished pages. So you can see that they're not like fully inked or polished. These are, and this is like this flipping the sketchbook. This looks very Jaime, right? He's talking about this sci-fi strip that he was working on that got rejected. But look at these characters in here. I want to read the sci-fi comic that Gilbert was working on but never came out. Here's some sketch cover ideas, which the Love and Rockets covers are always amazing. So it's cool to see what they rejected. I mean, even the rejected stuff looks like it would have been some of the best covers on the stand. Just more some character studies. I'm trying to see. I think there's more. Here's some of that surrealist stuff with his tongue there. Here's a great R. Crumb image that Gilbert did. And it's R. Crumb meeting Luba. I don't know where that image would have appeared. Does it say? Rejected from Blab #3 due to space restrictions. I don't know how they got rejected. That would have been a funny kind of mashup of underground cartoonists. There's the cover image that we have here. It was in a Arc magazine in the UK. Cover of the book, I mean, that we're currently reading. And yeah, this is a book definitely for mature audiences. I will say. Here's a Twitch City splash page. It was self-rejected. Here's a great one of an advertisement for Love and Rockets 1 with all the exploding images of what you can expect in a Love and Rockets comic book. Great imagery, because whenever I try to pitch Love and Rockets to somebody or whatever, I try to explain everything that's going on in this image. A promo image for Love and Rockets 46. And then here's some more comics that were rejected. Oh, this is going to be on the inside back cover of Love and Rockets 10. Unfinished Palomar story from 85. Here. And shot on both sides. Oh, this was the original. Here's a good story here. The original issue of Love and Rockets #1 is going to debut at San Diego Comic-Con. Fantagraphics, which wasn't called Fantagraphics just yet, had been putting out the Comics Journal for a number of years, which was like a criticism of, had like journalistic reviews and stuff of comics, and was very critical of the comic industry and what they had to offer at that time. So when they were putting this comic out, everyone was like anticipating it. Like, what are you going to put out if you've been so critical of what we put out by that? And there's actually a issue with the printing. They actually printed, there's one page where Gilbert Hernandez drew on one page and then didn't like it, so he flipped it over and drew the artwork on that side, and they accidentally printed the reverse side on it, so they had to fix it at the last minute. Warrior Women and Weirdos. So this is the Weirdos section. Kind of reminds me of like Basil Wolverton, and again, some of those Kirby monsters from the 50s, but it's kind of where he gets his whimsy too, like things like Blubber, where Gilbert kind of hashes out things that he wants to do that don't quite fit into the Palomar story. This is the from the Space Age Barbarian Chick's Drawer, a series of characters created for an aborted space opera. Like, who? I want to read this. Gilbert Hernandez, like, do this space opera. Like, this looks amazing. Here's more of those weirdos. I love this. I always love looking at sketchbooks from artists where they just fill the whole page with different ideas. Such cool stuff. This looks Ditko inspired, or maybe even Chester Gould, Dick Tracy. But yeah, the annotations though make this like a real great collection to have, because it gives you a little bit of historical perspective on what was going on during this time for these two different artists. Trying to see if there's any more. I think I'm getting close to the middle. Oh, yep, that's the Jaime section. All right, so then when you get to the middle of the book, here's like the last image of Gilbert. There's a little behind the scenes of the brothers Hernandez. You can spin this around. That's Gilbert Hernandez there, and that's Jaime, with a little biographical piece right here. And if you keep flipping through, you're going to get to the Jaime stuff and be upside down. So that's when you want to close the book, spin it around back to the Jaime side, and then flip it over, and you're back at the beginning of the Jaime side. So there's Penny Century there, wearing a shirt that says Jaime on it. One of the great punk show images. Jaime is always great for doing that. So this is early comics, Rock in Oxnard. So you're getting some of Jaime Hernandez's show flyers and punk imagery. I love this too, because it's like, Southern California used to be the best scene in the whole world. Let's not destroy what little of it's left with silly clique rivalries. And it's like all the different cliques within the punk scene. Drawing one of each. And it's so true. It's so silly when you get to like the punk scene, and there's like the hardcore kids and the emo kids and the, I don't know, goth kids or whatever it is. Fanzine days. Early comics. So these were submitted to different fanzines by Jaime. And again, just so accomplished as an artist so early on. The fact that they released the first Love and Rockets comics when they were just in their early 20s, and then think that earlier than that even. I don't think Jaime's even 20 years old at this point. But this is Pro Solar Mechanics. This is what would become kind of the plot of the early Jaime Love and Rockets era. But this is way more leaning into the sci-fi kind of aspects. Especially this one. You can see H.R. Costigan, early iterations of him before he would meet his final form. I noticed a lot more hatching and stuff on the faces here in Jaime's earlier stuff that he would go away from. Because Jaime is one of the all-time great figure artists, and had a lot of his accomplished work when he was a professional he had like the Claire Ligné or Ligné Claire clean line style that would be famous with a lot of the French cartoonists and whatnot. Here's Robin as a girl. Before, this is 82, this is before Carrie Kelly debuted in Dark Knight Returns. Jaime doing a piece, it's Jaime and Gilbert, doing a piece on the Phoenix. Here's Wonder Woman done in different iterations. Namor and Aquaman, that's fun. Bizarro, the Thing, Hulk. Oh, and it's Alicia, Thing's girlfriend. It's always cool to see cartoonists work on characters that they don't get to see you don't get to see them work on too much. These are character studies and sketchbooks. Looks like as he's preparing for the Love and Rockets early pieces or early issues. You see him working out the ideas of Maggie falling down, Maggie gaining weight too. And that's always a story within Love and Rockets. Here's Penny and Maggie as Batman and Robin. Pro wrestling, which is another thing that Jaime always kind of riffed on within his comics. And they also put out the Queen of the Ring, which is kind of a sketchbook of Jaime. This is put out by Fantagraphics a couple of years ago. It includes all of his wrestling drawings from 1980 to 2020. And this has like sketchbook material of him drawing different wrestlers and whatnot. This is a great book. I don't know if I've done a video on this one. If you want me to, let me know in the comments. This looks to be an imaginary anthology from 1981. So these are comics that were probably never released. 100 Rooms. Originally had a 6th chapter before I narrowed it down to only 5. Oh, wow. So 100 Rooms, one of the famous early stories by Jaime, had another chapter. Like I said, this is such a great book just to have like all the different B-sides, the things that hit the cutting room floor of the Love and Rockets era, which has been going on for over 40 years now. Love and Rockets have been put out. Jaime and Gilbert have been working cartoonists for over 40 years, which is amazing. Some more sketchbook material. Working on his different faces. Jaime was, people always credit Alex Toth, and I think Alex Toth is a cartoonist that was probably influential on Jaime. I see a lot of similarities in his work. But one thing that Alex Toth was always credited for was that he could draw different faces on everybody. Like he could draw like 1,000 different faces. It would never, no two people would ever look the same. I think Jaime has that in his characters as well. Here's Jaime working in like kind of a Charles Schultz cartoony kind of manner. Which, I mean, I'd read a whole comic book series of Jaime working in that style, too. Here's some early comics, too. The Fake Santa Claus Goes West. Then, I believe we're getting towards the end of the Jaime section here. But yeah, just a must-have book for any Love and Rockets fan. Any fan of either of the Hernandez brothers. It's such a great collection. And if you're just getting into Love and Rockets, this might be a cool book to have. Now we're back at the middle. But yeah, it's over 400 pages, I believe. I think it's 200 pages on each side. over 400 pages in this thick book. It's a nice, beautiful, oversized hardcover. And it's got comics and sketches in there, and a little bit of history of Love and Rockets with all the annotations and whatnot. So you can buy this over at organicpricebooks.com. And again, use my promo code TaylorTalksComics to save $2 off. Give the video a thumbs up, please, and comment down below with your thoughts on Love and Rockets if you're going to be picking this up. I always like talking to you guys in the comments, and I will catch you guys on the next one.